And we're live. As my normal saying goes. And we're live.
That's mercy.
Now, oh shoot. Ooh, I'm going to get... Really?
What's the matter?
It's just a Discord server, not mine, but
This something on there.
someone else's.
Let's see
What the heck?
what's wrong.
What, Mom? You gonna go back in it, Mom?
It still says Thomas is playing Xbox when he isn't.
Don't stream it, kick my mom out.
Oh, and if Trevor wants to know what Shane's reaction to that exposing video was, all he said was, "Oh, what happened there?"
Just stream kick my mom out again.
Oh, good lord.
Send me a screenshot of what he said. If you can.
On Instagram or Messenger?
I don't care. Either or.
Yeah, I'm going on Messenger since I was there.
Alright,
But-
Report it. I reported it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they'd say it, though.
Just say so in
Yeah,
the comments.
Not to mention, Percy, I'm gonna private message you real quick.
Alright.
I just help you on it.
Anxiety. Stuff off. Sorry. Gotta talk back to the anxiety. Tell it to go eat a lemon or whatever.
Yeah.
It's rainy today, so no wonder my anxiety was off. Oh, the cute dog. Sorry, someone sent me a photo of their dog.
What?
Oh, shoot. I totally missed a message on Instagram from the one and only Thomas. Who?
No, you see it says click here, then go to Messenger, Mom.
Oh, that's why I didn't understand.
And you just like hit the link. Yeah. And then it takes you to. But
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you guys late. Mama over it.
I know that, Mom.
Resting my eyes this time was actually a success. Unlike last night. Last night didn't work out.
Sorry, I guys couldn't try to say something to me on Messenger.
Yeah, I heard
I
it.
put myself on mute on StreamYard.
Now I hear an echo and I don't like it.
Really, I was gonna hear my phone outside
What on these you? I
Yeah.
bet that's why Shane was. I mean, yeah, yeah. I did think about when I said it on that stream when I said I wanted Max and Monty to run over Duncan. And that was kind of messed up.
Benjamin, Emily's gonna join. What? Was that like?
It was where we had that talk. But he doesn't remember it because, no offense, there's no offense, sometimes Shane doesn't remember a lot of things. No offense, sometimes Shane can be a little crazy, I'm sorry. He's a good guy and I do care about him, but sometimes he is really crazy at times.
Which is understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm really kind of worried about Robert. That's why I changed my profile pic to extremely worried. When he went off on me in the server Friday, I was kind of freaked out. Thanks to Casey for snitching on me. Crap.
Is it just me or does Casey go along with a lot of this?
Casey just goes along with a lot of that. I thought he was cool.
It's the Watch those mashed potatoes.
What you watching there, Percy?
Oh, I'm not watching anything. It's a video call we were on. I went on mute, but tried to turn it down, but it didn't really take all of the sound away. So, yeah.
Anywho, I guess I can do some more Wizard Oz commentary for y'all where we left off.
I'll just go off for the call right now. So it doesn't echo or whatever.
Yeah.
Now here's the Tin Man. It can over you. Oh. Hey.
Oh, Thomas, come on.
Help yourself. What's wrong with Thomas Ross?
He said he's gonna do a little live video on Instagram to show everyone his home theater system. Of course, when Benjamin's doing a StreamYard here.
Wow.
That's just a joke.
Well. Why, it's a man. A man made out of tin. What? Yeah. Oh, look. Bird. Bird. Did you say something? Oil can. Oil can what? Oil can. Oh, here it is. Where do you want to be oiled first? Fun fact. While a lot of the makeup that they used in the Wizard of Oz was really dangerous, they actually used chocolate syrup for the oil that they used to oil the Tin Man.
Chocolate syrup?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thomas, you ditcher? Sorry.
My goodness, I can talk again. Oh, oil my arms, please. Oil my elbows. Oh, did that hurt? No, it feels wonderful. I've held that axe up for ages. Oh, goodness, how did you ever get like this? Oh, well, about a year ago, I was chopping that tree, minding my own business, when suddenly started to rain, and right in the middle of the chop, I rusted salt, and I've been that way ever since. Well, you're perfect now. My neck. Perfect. Oh, bang on my chest if you think I'm perfect. Go ahead, bang on it. Oh. Beautiful, what an echo. It's empty. The tinsmith forgot to give me a heart. No heart. No heart. All hollow. Oh. When a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his mettle, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm presuming that I could be kind of human if I only had a heart. I'd be tender, I'd be gentle, and awful sentimental regarding love and art. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I'd be friends with the sparrows and the boy who shoots the arrows if I only had a heart. Picture me a balcony. Above a voice sings low. Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Is this battleship
I
then?
hear a beat. How sweet. Just to register emotion, jealousy, devotion, and really feel the part. I could stay young and chipper, and I'd lock it with a zipper if I only had a heart.
That's so Mexico. That one blew up 3 days ago.
Oh, 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 are you all right? I'm afraid I'm a little rusty yet. Oh dear, that was wonderful. You know, we were just wondering why you couldn't come to the Emerald City with us to ask the Wizard of Oz for a heart. Emerald City, well, that's a long and dangerous journey, and it might rain on the way. But you've just been saying how much you want a heart, and I'll keep the oil can handy. Well, suppose the wizard wouldn't get me one when we got there. Oh, but he will. He must. We've come such a long way already. What's that? Oh, you call that
Wow.
long? What's that, Percy?
No, I was talking to Thomas.
You call that long? Why,
There's
you
a mama
just
coming.
Forgotten about me, eh? Well, I haven't forgotten about you. Helping the little lady along, are you, my fine gentleman? Well, stay away from her, or I'll stuff a mattress with you. And you, I'll use you for a beehive. Here, Scarecrow, wanna play ball? As for you, my little Dorothy, I wish you luck with the Wizard of Oz and a happy journey back to Kansas.
If you're watching it all the time, Grandma keeps repeating it.
I'm not afraid of her. I'll see you get safely to the wizard now, whether I get a brain or not. Stuff a mattress with me. I'll see you reach the wizard, whether I get a heart or not. Beehive. Bah! Let her try and make a beehive out of me. You know? What's that? Oh, they're gone now. Oh, goodness, did any of them sting you? I guess they tried to, but they bent their stingers. Oh, dear, I don't know what if I do for that. Oh, whole swarm kept. Oh, there's one on me. Oh, I'll get it. I see. I killed it. I killed that poor little honeybee. Oh. It's only a man without a head who could do a thing like that, poor little bee. Oh, there. Don't cry there. As a matter of fact, that's just an old drone bee, and it would have died anyway. Yes, you put it out of its misery. Oh, it's just that witch is so wicked. I don't think you two ought to come with me because you'll get into trouble. Oh, you don't think we're going to stand by and let her get away with fireballs and bees, do you? No, sir. No, sir. Oh, you're the best friends anybody ever had. And it's funny, but I feel as if I've known you all the time, but I couldn't have, could I? I don't see how. You weren't around when I was stuffed and sewn together, were you? And I was standing over there, rustling for the longest time. Oh, yeah. Still, I wish I could remember, but I guess it doesn't matter anyway. We know each other now, don't we?
Where'd you go?
Percy, what's up? Oh, hey, Thomas Ross.
I was laughing at a group chat.
Hey, Thomas Ross, how are you, man?
I'm good playing my wrestling game.
You and your wrestling.
What?
Yeah, you think wrestling's
Oh.
some sort of game? Like, hey,
At least he plays actual games.
yeah. Like, no, unlike no go away.
God.
Hey, remember when Benjamin called him Blow Hayfield?
What?
Right, we do. To Oz, to Oz. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We're here to see the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a wiz there was.
Goodness.
Ever a wiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is born because of the wonderful things he does. Do. Oh, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Do. I don't like this forest. It's dark and creepy. Of course, I don't know, but I think it'll get darker before it gets lighter. Oh, do you suppose we'll meet any wild animals? We might. Oh, animals that eat straw? Some, but mostly lions and tigers and bears. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. 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 Come on, the script's being stupid.
And this is when the lion comes.
What sort of animal is that? It's a huge one. Don't be frightened. I'll protect you. Oh, look. Put them up. Put them up. Which one are you boys? Fine, I'll fight you both together if you want. I'll fight you with one paw standing behind my back. I'll fight you standing on one foot. I'll fight you with my eyes closed. Oh, pulling an axe on me, eh? Sneaking up on me, eh? Why, I oughta... Here, go away and leave us alone. Oh, scared, huh? Right, huh? How long can you stay brushing that can? Come on, get up and fight, you shivering junkyard. Put your hands up, you lopsided bag of hay. I'm sorry, I just want the cowardly lion. No, that's getting personal, lion.
You're great.
Get up and teach him a lesson. Well, what's wrong with you teaching him? Why, I hardly know him. What? Well, I'll get you anyway, Pee-wee. Oh, shame on you. What'd you do that for? I didn't bite him. No, but you tried to. It's bad enough picking on a straw man when you go around picking on poor little dogs. Well, you didn't have to go and hit me, did you? Is my nose bleeding? Well, of course not. My goodness, what a fuss you're making. Well, naturally, when you go around picking on things the weaker than you are, why, you're nothing but a great big coward. You're right. I am a coward. I haven't any courage at all. I even scare myself. Look at the cycles under my eyes. I haven't slept in weeks. Why don't you try counting sheep? That doesn't do any good. I'm afraid of them. Oh, that's too bad. Don't you think the wizard could help him too? I don't see why not. Why don't you come along with us? We're on our way to see the wizard now to get him a heart and him a brain. I'm sure he could give you some courage. Whoa. Well, wouldn't you feel degraded to be seen in the company of the Cowardly Lion? I would. No, of course not. Gee, that's awfully nice of you, but my life has been simply unbearable. Oh. Yeah, it's sad, believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy without the vim and voive. But I could show my prowess be a lion, not a mouse, if I only had the nerve. I'm afraid there's no denying. I'm just a dandelion, a fate I don't deserve. Bum, 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 bum. I'd be brave as a blizzard. I'd be gentle as a lizard. I'd be clever as a gizzard. If the wizard is a wizard who will serve, then I'm sure to get a brain. Then I'm sure to get a brain, a heart, a home, the knife. Oh, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Well, here he is, a whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever, however, a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does. Do. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. All right. So, you won't take warning, eh? All the worse for you, then. I'll take care of you now instead of later. Ha! When I gain those ruby slippers, my power will be the greatest in Oz. And now, my beauties, something with poison in it, I think. With poison in it. But attractive to the eye and soothing to smell. Poppies. Poppies. Poppies will put them to sleep. Sleep. There's Emerald City. Oh, we're almost there. At last, at last. It's beautiful, isn't it? Just like I knew it would be. He really must be a wonderful wizard to live in a city like that. Well, come on, then. What are we waiting for? Nothing. Let's hurry. Yes, let's hurry. Yes. Come on. Hurry. Do. Oh, come on. Look, you can see it here. It's wonderful. Emerald City. Oh, what's happening? What is it? I can't run anymore. I'm so sleepy. Here, give us your hands and we'll pull you along. Oh, no, please. I have to rest for just a minute. Toto, where's Toto? Oh, you can't rest now. We're nearly there. What will she do that for? Oh, hey, Dorothy. Hey, Dorothy. Dorothy, you can't sleep here. You can't sleep in the middle of the field. Call away. She won't hear any of you again, and there's nothing you can do about it either. Bring me my wishing cap. I'll call the winged monkeys to fetch me those slippers. Hurry. It worked very smoothly. Oh, poor Dorothy. Don't cry. You'll rush yourself again. Come to think of it, 40 wings wouldn't be bad. Oh, don't you start it too. We ought to try and carry Dorothy. I don't think I could, but we could try. Yes, let's. Now look at him. This is terrible. Here, 10-man, help me. This is terrible. I can't budge her an inch. This is a spell. This is. It's the Wicked Witch. What do we do? Help! It's no use screaming at a time like this. No one will hear you. Help! It's snowing. It couldn't be. Oh, but it is. No, it isn't. Yes, and maybe that'll help. Oh, but it couldn't help. It does help. Dorothy, you're waking up. Oh, unusual weather we're having. Ain't it? Look, he's rested again. Oh, give me the oil can, quick. Quick. Yes. There. Oh, here, quick. Oh, we'll oil him up. A hot water bottle would be good if we have one. Oh, he's been crying. Why have you been? Curse it. Some way always helps that girl. But shoes or no shoes, I'm still great enough to conquer her. And woe to those who try and stop me. Come, let's get out of here. Here, look, Emerald City is closer and prettier than ever. You're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night. Step into the sun, step into the light. Keep straight ahead for the most glorious place on the face of the earth, of the sky. Hold on to your breath, hold on to your heart, hold on to your hope. March up to the gate and bid it open. Ah! To the Emerald City as fast as lightning. Oh, the sky, hold on to your breath, hold on to your heart, hold on to your hope. March up to the gate and bid it open. 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 Hold on. You rang that bell. Oh, yeah, Oh, really? Hold on.
What?
Sorry, Benjamin just said something. Who rang that bell? We did. Can't you read? Read what? The notice. What notice? It's on the door, as plain as the nose on my face. Bell out of order, please knock. Well, that's more like it. Now, state your business. We want to see the wizard. Oh, the wizard? But nobody can see the Great Oz. Nobody's ever seen the Great Oz. Even I've never seen him. Well, how do you know there is one? Because you're wasting my time. Oh, please, please, sir, I've got to see the wizard. The good witch of the north sent me. Prove it. She's wearing the ruby slippers she gave her. Oh, so she is. Well, bust my buttons. Why didn't you say that in the first place? That's a horse of a different color. Come on in. Cabby, just what you're looking for. Takes you any place in the city, we does. Would you take us to see the wizard? The wizard? The wizard? Oh, I can't. Well, yes, of course. But first I'll take you to a little place where you can tidy up a bit. And what? Oh, thank you so much. We've been gone such a long time and we feel so mess. What kind of a horse is that? I've never seen a horse like that before. No, I never will again, I fancy. There's only one of him, and he's it. He's a horse of a different color you've heard tell about. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, and a couple of tra-la-las. That's how we laugh the day away in the merry old land of Oz. Bzz, 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 chirp, 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 and a couple of la-dee-daws. That's how the crickets quirk all day in the merry old land of Oz. We get up at 12 and start to work at 1, taking out for lunch, and then at 2 we're done. Jolly good fun, ha ha ha, oh ho ho, and a couple of tra-la-las. That's how we laugh the day away in the merry old land of Oz. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, ha 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 ha. That's how we laugh the day away with a ho ho ho, ha ha ha, in the merry old land of Oz. Pat pat here, pat pat there, and a couple of brand new straws. That's how we keep you young and fair in the merry old land of Oz. Rub rub here, rub there, whenever you're 10 and whether you're 10 or bronze. That's how we keep you and repair in the merry old land of Oz. We can make a dimpled smile out of frown. Can you even dye my eyes to match my gown? Uh-huh. Jolly old town. Clip, clip here, clip, clip there. We give the roughest claws. That's an air of savoir-faire in the merry old land of Oz. Ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ho. Ha, 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 ho, ha. That's how we laugh the day away in the merry old land of Oz. That's how we laugh the day away. Hey, ha 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 in the merry old land of Oz. Ha 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 ho 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 ho. Oh! Who's her? Who's her? It's the witch. She's followed us here. Can't that female take no for an answer? Oh, surrender Dorothy or die, WWW. Whoa. Yeah, that was the original message. Surrender Dorothy or.
Channel. It's so good to see you again. And for those guys who haven't seen yet, we hit 1 million subscribers! And I want to really thank you for that. That is incredible. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to making
Dorothy? Who's Dorothy? The wizard will explain it to the wizard. To the wizard, dear, whatever shall we do? Well, we better hurry if we're going to see the wizard. Hey, wait a minute. Stop. It's all right. That's all right. Everything is all right. The great and powerful has got matters well in hand. I hope you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on home. Go on. Please, sir, we want to see the wizard right away, all four of us. Orders on. Nobody can see the great Oz. Nobody not know how.
I have accepted her challenge.
But we must. Orders on. Nobody not know how. He's in conference with himself on account of this trouble with the witch. And even if he wasn't, you wouldn't have been able to see him anyway on account of nobody has. Not even us in the palace. Oh, but please, it's very important. And I got appointment at just for the occasion. Not nobody not know how. Oh, pardon me, we gotta change the god. What do you want to see the wizard? Not nobody not know.
Some ones that I like the best. Some of which I like.
But she's Dorothy. The witch is Dorothy. Well, that makes a difference. Just wait here and I'll announce you at once. Did you hear that? He'll announce us at once. I'm as good as got my brain. I can fairly hear my heart beating. I'll be home in time for supper. In another hour, I'll be king of the forest. Long live the king. If I were king of the forest.
I've never done this before.
Not queen, not duke, not my regal robes of the forest would be satin,
I actually did know. Well, we used to say that a lot.
I command each lady, fish or fowl, with a ruff and a ruff and a
Okay.
and a royal growl. Ruff. As I clicked my heel, the trees would kneel, the mountains bow, and the bulls kowtow. And the sparrow would take wing if I were king. Each rabbit would show respect to me, the chipmunk's genuflect to me. Though my tail would lash, I would show compassion for every underling. If I were king, just king. Each rabbit would show respect to him, the chipmunk's genuflect to him, and his wife would be queen of the May. I'd be monarch of all I survey. Monarch of all I survey. Monarch of all I survey. Your Majesty, if you were king, you wouldn't be afraid of anything. Not nobody, not know how. Not even a rhinoceros? Imposterous. How about a hippopotamus? Why, I'd thrash him from top to bottomus. Supposing you met an elf and I'd wrap him up in cellophane. Well, what if it were a brontosaurus? I'd show him who was king of the forest. How? How? Courage. What makes a king out of a slave? Courage. What makes the flag on the mast a wave? Courage. What makes the elephant charge his tusk in the misty mist or the dusky dusk? What makes the muskrat god his musk? Courage. What makes the sphinx the seventh wonder? Courage. What makes the dawn like courage? Like thunder, courage. What makes the Hottentot so hot? What puts the ape in apricot? What have they got that I ain't got? courage. You can say that again. Huh? Oh, here! The wizard says go away. Hey, Percy, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the John before I continue the rest of the commentary.
Alrighty.
I'm back, Percy.
Welcome back, Trevor.
Thanks. Percy, Thomas Ross, Benjamin.
What happened? What's going on?
Shane's Shane sent a friend request and he said I'm on a friend request.
On what?
On Discord. Let me send you the StreamYard.
You just asked me if I was on a stream.
Oh, jeez.
But I thought you two had issues.
But I don't understand that. For
I'm confused. What is going on? I'm confused. Don't worry, Benjamin. Don't worry. Don't worry, Benjamin. It's okay.
Come on, Trevor. Come on, Trevor. You're not the cowardly lion. You're the cowardly lion. You're the scarecrow.
Don't worry, Benjamin. It's okay. Don't worry. But wait, how did he even ask me that? Why did he even ask me if I was on a stream? Why did he ask me that? Like, that was out of nowhere. That was out of nowhere. To ask me if I was on a stream? Wait, what's wrong, Trevor?
I'm shaking right now.
It's okay.
Oh boy.
But if he, I was gonna say, if he's upset with you, then why did he even send you a request?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anything else?
You know, son, Trevor, Shane
up?
is not allowed on this StreamYard.
Oh, Lordy.
Because my mom will say something to Shane to mind his own business.
Well, maybe he needs to.
As if he says another thing to me about my own childhood, my mom will not be happy at Shane.
I don't think he will. He's been talking about something else.
Yeah, but if he like says something straight to my face about my childhood again, my mom will hear everything.
I know. You better not.
And my mom's gonna be watching.
Oh, great.
So if Shane's watching this, he better stop watching my StreamYards, because my mom's gonna watch every StreamYard. So you're fine, Travel. My mom's gonna make sure me and my friends be safe. So you're safe, Travel. My mom's gonna be watching.
Right.
Yeah, but for Shane to send a request to Trevor out of nowhere after everything we talked about earlier on the call and Discord, yeah, that's just weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but saying everyone block Travel, no, that is a no-no. He wants all of us to block Travel, so he could just be friends with Travel. He doesn't want none of us to be friends with Travel.
No, he was mad at Trevor.
Mad at Travel and told all of us to block Travel.
Yeah, it was a suggestion he did, but I'm not listening to it. And if they want to get mad, because they're calling Trevor a pedophile and all that, I don't believe any of that trash.
Yeah.
If they're gonna keep saying things, or if they get mad at us for not blocking Trevor and not, cutting ties with him, well, too bad. Because I've never seen Trevor do anything wrong, so I won't believe all the stuff they say until I actually see it, which I don't think I'll ever see it.
Exactly.
My saying is, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
We all believe it when we see it. Even talk about my childhood like to my face. It's but Shane to accept my childhood and forget about it.
Well, once I talked to him, he did finally get that.
But keep bringing it up and keep saying ain't the same thing over and over. He didn't forget about it. He just want to keep talking about it, ruin my childhood. What do you mean just forget about my childhood and be a real man? No, I'm not a real man. I love my childhood, and that's the way I am. You can't change for who I am. It's the way I am. It's the way I am.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what goes through his mind.
Yeah.
Shane can't change my mind. He needs to understand that he can't change my mind from my child. I love my child. I love a bunch of my child. Doesn't matter if it's Shinington or not. He needs to accept that. Trevor accepts it.
Yeah,
I
I
understand
know
he
I
doesn't
don't
watch
really
it
like
that much.
Chuggington.
Hold on a second.
Who is it?
It's probably a group. It's probably the messenger call. Because Quentin joined the call, so.
Very angry. Oh, jeez.
I know who it is.
Oh, sweet mother of James Dean, I am toast.
Though I kind of want to see what the hell is going on here.
You're a captain, man. You are
Don't worry. Don't worry, Benjamin. If he says anything bad, don't worry. You can do whatever you need to.
Right. Come on, Trevor. Like Scarecrow says. Come on, Trevor. You're Scarecrow. You have a brain.
Alright, go ahead.
All right.
I just hope it's not bad questions. He's not going to say anything about childhood. He's talking about something else that happened, guys. Holy. Let's not jump to conclusions, everybody.
Right, Percy, right. My arm's shaking.
And I know how Trevor feels when things get crazy. I start to get anxiety myself when things get insane.
Come on, Trevor. Come on, Trevor. You always said Cowboy line was your favorite. Favorite, just add me in. I want to talk to Trevor.
Say the one that. Never mind.
He's building a 10-foot statue of Ashlyn. I don't know.
If we listen, if we did.
Go ahead, Percy. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if we did give him a chance, he better not talk about Benjamin's childhood again.
Right.
That's all I want. And that's all Benjamin wants. Dang, if this was my stream, I'd let everybody in. I'm just I'm just saying that because, you know. See? He's not gonna talk about it.
Say he's not talking about Chuggington. Okay. Trevor.
Okay.
Benjamin, just add him in. Just add him in before I can have a panic attack.
I'll probably go on mute if that's the case.
Benjamin, add him in. Oh my friggin'.
Before Trevor goes insane, can we just get this over with?
Let's just get this over with. Benjamin, add him in. Please. Please, Benjamin. I'll play a Roblox game on Chuggington with you. Just please.
I already played one with him before.
Benjamin, I will do anything for you. Just please. Please. What? Wait a minute. Okay, Shane, listen to me, man.
If you two get into a fight on the private chat, I swear to God, I'm going on mute.
All right,
not you, Trevor.
Whatever. Okay. Listen. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. Deep breaths, deep breaths. You're not afraid of Shane. But listen to me. Listen to me. All that stuff was before we had our talk, and I told Robert not to do the stream. I'm like, Robert, I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, Shane, if you want, I will send you screenshots. I will. And, I mean, dude, Robert even said he was going to commit suicide tonight. And I don't even believe it. And I was like, and I mean, I told him I would not join the StreamYard because, I mean, look, I am on no one side. I mean, Shane, I'll say this once to you, man, and I'll say it again. I am not on your side. I'm not on Robert's side. I'm not on anyone's side. There's nothing that says as I have to be friends with certain people. I mean, if Robert tried to get me to do anything to you, then yeah, I would tell him no. But Robert, I was like, Robert, don't you do it. But Robert was just like, no, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, the dude just doesn't listen to a word I say. Oh, fine, I'll come on a call with you. Oh, pray for me, Percy.
It'll be okay, Trevor.
Right.
Anyway. Oh yeah, and about suicide, someone needs to talk him out of that. Just saying, because how do I say it? It's not worth it. And he left. You know Casey, the nice guy that doesn't really get involved in things? Yeah, he doesn't get involved much. Casey's like, how do I mention it? Casey's like one of those cool people, or cool guys that just, or no, not cool guys. Casey's one of those nice guys that, you know, stays out of drama and all that. Well, this is, oh yeah, I was watching the videos with music in it. I don't want to copyright Benjamin, so I'll be on mute while watching these. Hopefully it doesn't kick everyone off for being on mute. Like Messenger did the one time, or Instagram. Hmm. Oh, hey, Katie. Hey, Katie. Hey, Casey. Oh my gosh. I don't know why, but your names are like, your names are so close together that like, they sound so close together. It's like I'd be saying Katie and Casey. Katie, Casey, Katie, Casey. I could say that in a tongue twister. By the way, yeah, the other viewer is Thomas. I just told him to put my name just to mess around. Uh, yeah, I know a lot of us are on. I know two of us are on mute, but that's because Thomas is watching a movie and uh, Benjamin's on the group call on Messenger, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Oh, nice, Benjamin, as usual. Oh yeah, I was gonna watch the video. Oh yeah, and it has music in it, so because it's a wheel of musical impression videos. But yeah, I'm gonna go on mute just for a few secs. And I don't mean sex as in the other word, I mean the other one. Yeah, that idiot. Yeah, comes on and you know what. First thing you see is that, and then you're like, what the frick? Oh my god, who ordered the yawning fest? Anxiety, who told you you could come here? Been waiting for Trevor. If he comes back. Yeah, right, Benjamin? We don't need them. I hate to cuss because Benjamin's mom is around, but I need to say this to that idiot. So, here's to that inappropriate user. Fuck you, and fuck you. 3 fuck yous. All I'm gonna say. Oh, and also to that inappropriate user, take your inappropriate stuff and get the fuck out of the door. And I apologize for the profanity. Thomas Benjamin, I think I found out why my anxiety was terrible. But the problem is, I don't want to say it here because, some things are not to be said on live streams. So, yeah. The heck? NASCAR hilarious moment. Guys, there's a flipping there's a thumbnail with the if I would stop stuttering, thumbnail with the the title called NASCAR hilarious moments. Well, you probably wouldn't know, but it was 8 days ago they posted this. And they're called the video itself is called NASCAR hilarious moments, and you wouldn't believe what the thumbnail had. Even you, Thomas, you won't believe what the thumbnail was. You will not believe what it is. It's sorry. It's I can describe the thumbnail for you, Thomas. It's basically a photo of a racetrack with a school bus on it. Yeah, a school bus. And apparently it's supposed to look like it's going around the track. How weird is that? What do you think of that, Thomas? A school bus on the racetrack for a thumbnail. What do you think of that one? You know you can say it on the StreamYard too, Thomas. Like, what do you guys have to say to that? Well, especially Thomas, because he won't freaking answer me. Thomas is a meanie. Thomas don't love me anymore. Fine, maybe this will make Thomas speak if I go and watch the complete history of Radiator Springs. Oh, I kicked him out. You son of a cheeseburger. I mean cheeseburger. Like, what the hell? Yeah, but you could have been talking over it, Thomas. Oh boy. Hey, I say that too. Well, only in a funny way, but I say it. Oh my god, Deeds on the servers of the AJP says something on it. Dang you!
Why? Just why, huh? Why?
Dean looked at the server and then he left. Try and talk like my dad too, Percy, or what? No! Thomas,
Ram.
what think of the thumbnail of a school bus on the racetrack.
What was that about? What is it? What in the movie is that?
No, what kind of thumbnail that is?
That is crazy.
Dang, you completely ignored my freaking Discord message. How rude. I said hi, everyone, and as soon as I said hi, everyone, Dane disappeared on me. How mean. How mean, Dane. Ooh, Thomas is on Discord.
Hold on a second, y'all. My grandmother's calling me. Hold up.
Oh, brother. Shoot, I forgot to make a Discord channel for memes. He laughed at it. Oh my. Hmm. I know I forgot to make a channel on here. Hold on. Hmm.
Hello, robots.
Oh, commercials go away. Wow. Wait. Hmm, this one. Yeah. Ooh. Oh my god. Nice. Ow! It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. Hey, it's supposed to be 19 degree. 19 degrees? I think it should be warmer than that. The weather is stupid. Okay, wait a sec. Ooh, I found a weird one of. I'm not gonna say it. Oops. Oh, where are all my names gone to? I know that. Uh-huh. No. No. That one's a little dark, but oh well. Wait, hold on.
Stanley on. Hello, fun people. I'm Isaac Carlson, and today we're going to go through the complete history of Radiator Springs.
The cutest little town in Carburetor County.
Now, Radiator Springs was founded by a traveling radiator cap salesman named Stanley on August 2nd of 1909.
I've got small caps, large caps, all colors, all shapes, every make, every model. Caps for the gentlemen and caps for the ladies.
You see, Stanley was on his way to the big cities in California in hopes of finding a place to set up shop and make his fortune. But he never arrived. When Stanley overheated on Route 66, he pulled off into the shade next to the Cone Light Caverns, home of the world-famous stalactites, and he discovered a life-saving natural spring coming up from the earth. On that day, Stanley found nature's coolant, water. And as the story goes, he stopped to fill his radiator and never left. What Stanley realized was that if he needed a place to stop on his long travels, then other cars probably would want to take a rest too. So he committed himself to help service overheated Route 66 travelers on their way from Chicago to LA.
Get yourself some nice cool water here, and then I'll set you up with some radiator caps. What do you think? Something snazzy.
He set up shop next to the spring, and right there he founded the first settlement in Ornament Valley. Stanley had found his own oasis.
Welcome to Stanley's Oasis.
But it wasn't the Radiator Springs we know just yet. You see, for one, the original place Stanley settled was actually far away from the town that he'd inevitably built. The spring was actually up on higher rocks over a ridge next to the Cadillac Range. Stanley called his watering hole a radiator spring, but it would take some time before he established the town. At the beginning of his journey, he just needed to survive. The first thing he actually did was establish his business, Stanley's Cap and Tap, Carburetor County's capstone of caps. If Stanley didn't have your cap, he'd find you one for free. And for anyone who was in need of a new radiator cap, Stanley offered free drinks from the spring, which he called nature's own fixer elixir. There were claims that the water in the spring was capable of reducing leaks, stopping squeaks, and removing rust. How accurate all of those promises were, we can't be for certain, but the travelers were pleased with Stanley's little stop nonetheless. You see, Stanley's place became a welcomed addition to Route 66, and that allowed him to eventually expand. He established a bottle garage for oil, he had a service center, and he created the comfy Caverns Motor Court within the naturally cooled cavern next door. But his little oasis would not be complete until he met the love of his life.
Hold on. Guys, just checking something real quick. Okay.
One day, a car named Lizzie overheated just beyond Stanley's shops, and when they met, they immediately fell in
Wait, let me go
love.
back
Hubba,
to
hubba,
few
be
seconds.
complete until he met the love of his life. One day, a car named Lizzie,
Wait.
he created the comfy
There we go.
Caverns Motor
Sorry,
Court
guys, I
within
had to
the
go back a
naturally
bit.
cooled cavern next door. But his little oasis would not be complete until he met the love of his life. One day, a car named Lizzie overheated just beyond Stanley's shops, and when they met, they immediately fell in love.
Hubba, hubba. Aren't you the cat's pajamas?
I bet you say that to all the girls.
Oh, applesauce.
After meeting Stanley, Lizzie decided to stay so that they could be together, and she helped grow the oasis. She founded a small curios business and built out the motor court. Eventually, though, with an increase of customers, Stanley and Lizzie realized that they were going to outgrow their little settlement. So they decided to move the town down to the flatlands so that they could continue to expand. And in honor of the original oasis that was built because of one little spring, Stanley christened the new town by naming it Radiator Springs. Now, the first building that was constructed in the new town was the courthouse. And as soon as it was finished, Stanley and Lizzie were married within it. They then honeymooned at the old comfy Caverns Motor Court, and together they transformed Radiator Springs into a legendary rest stop. As more cars continued to travel west, a collection of small businesses lining the main road in Radiator Springs began to pop up. You could purchase pistons and mud flaps and get your tires repaired. There was bumper buffing, spark plugs, and a drive-in theater which showed classics like Toy Car Story, Peter Oil Pan, Lady in the Ramp, Monster Trucks Inc., and Truck Beds and Stick Shifts. Of course, Stanley kept selling his radiator caps, and Lizzie established Radiator Springs Curios, but one place that was extra special was built just up the road. Out past the courthouse and the radiator cap, beyond Firewall Falls, there was the Wheel Well Motel.
Used to be the most popular stop on the Mother Road.
Eventually, Flo set up her gas station and Mater came to be the local tow truck. There was Ramon doing body art and Luigi was selling the finest tires. Sarge had his general store and Fillmore sold his organic fuel. Radiator Springs had a fire truck in red and a law-abiding sheriff. Stanley was able to create a community in Radiator Springs, and that was able to live on even once he was gone. Eventually, Stanley passed away, and in his memory, a statue was erected exactly where he founded the town, just outside the courthouse. And unfortunately, much like Stanley, the good old days eventually faded away. In the mid-1950s, towns along Route 66 were meeting their demise as Interstate 40 was being built, while the citizens of Radiator Springs were willing to...
Hold on, guys. Sorry. I'll go back a bit.
Eventually faded away. And in his memory, a statue was erected exactly where he founded the town, just outside the courthouse. And unfortunately, much like Stanley, the good old days eventually faded away. In the mid-1950s, towns along Route 66 were meeting their demise as Interstate 40 was being built, while the citizens of Radiator Springs were willing to embrace the new road and the travelers they thought would come. The truth was that the addition of Interstate 40 meant that their town was bypassed by most cars.
Look, they're driving right by. They don't even know what they're missing.
Almost overnight,
I love
Radiator
that
Springs
scene in Cars.
disappeared from most cars' trips.
Makes me
And
cry.
without those travelers visiting, that meant many small businesses closed and citizens were forced to move away. The town fell apart. But even though there weren't many reasons to stick around, a few remained to service one another and maintain the small town they loved. Now, once Radiator Springs fell off the map, it actually became a perfect place for the Hudson Hornet to disappear from the spotlight. After a devastating wreck forced Doc into retirement, he became a doctor of internal combustion in 1962, which eventually led him to run the Ornament Valley Mechanical Clinic far away from the rest of the world in Radiator Springs. While Doc quickly became a respected member of the community, even leading him to become a judge, for the most part, he remained closed off. Truth was that Doc hoped that he would never have to confront his old life again. Years later, a lawyer from LA named Sally broke down to Radiator Springs.
Doc fixed me up. Flo took me in. No, they all did.
Sally fell in love with the community and all of its members, which led to her purchasing the Cozy Cone Motel and extending her stay.
I never left.
After Sally's arrival, though, the future of Radiator Springs seemed somewhat hopeless. There was no clear way for the town to ever return to its former glory until a
Oh yeah, a
cocky-faced
little warning
car
before
named
I started
Lightning
watching the complete history of like car stuff. I just want to say I hope that Benjamin Stream doesn't get no copyright claim for that.
There was no way for the town to ever return
That's all
to
I'm
its
gonna
former
say.
glory until a cocky
Okay,
race
now I need
car.
to go back.
Though the future of Radiator Springs seemed somewhat hopeless. There was no clear way for the town to ever extending her stay. Sally fell in love with the community and moved down to Radiator Springs.
There we go.
Doc fixed me up. Flo took
Oh
me in.
snap! I went too far.
No, they all did.
Sally fell in love with the community and all of its members, which led to her purchasing the Cozy Cone Motel and extending her stay.
I never left.
After Sally's arrival, though, the future of
There we go.
Radiator Springs seemed somewhat hopeless. There was no clear way for the town to ever return to its former glory until a cocky race car named Lightning McQueen pulled into town and destroyed the road.
Fly away, Stanley.
Those are the parts I'm trying to say do not get Benjamin copyrighted because it's just little tiny clips of the movie that are being put in with this history of blah 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 blah.
You're in a heap of trouble.
While Lightning was resentful of being forced to rebuild the road in Radiator Springs, he eventually was charmed by the small town. He became friends with the community members and was inspired by the history that was around him, which eventually led him to fund some of the restoration that was needed to light up Radiator Springs again. Even though the town wasn't back to the way it was just yet, there was a magic there that everyone could feel.
Oh, Stanley.
That's another copyright thing that could get it
They all
copyrighted.
had hope and no one could
That
deny
probably made
that
no
Lightning
sense.
was one of them.
Hmm.
While it took Doc the longest to see the good within Lightning's heart, the rookie's presence changed him. Lightning opened Doc up again to the world. So when Lightning was called to Los Angeles to compete for the Piston Cup, Doc led everyone in Radiator Springs to rally behind the rookie. With Doc as Lightning's new crew chief, along with members of the town rising to be Lightning's pit crew, the young race car competed his heart out. And even though he didn't win that day, he knew he had truly found his home in Radiator Springs.
There's some rumor floating around that some hot
There's
shot
another
Piston
one.
Cup race car is setting up his big racing headquarters here.
Really? Oh, well, there goes the town.
And with that decision, Stanley's little town was back on the map. Suddenly, race cars and race fans from across the country and world descended onto Radiator Springs, and the citizens were happy to have them. The residents of Radiator Springs were committed to rebuilding their town as travelers returned, which led them to establish a racing museum to celebrate their new connection to the racing world, and Sally was able to reopen the Wheelwell Motel. Over the years, Lightning continued to reinvest and bring attention to the town as he became a decorated race car, showing his commitment to Radiator Springs thriving long into the future. And Radiator Springs eventually became so respected in the racing world that they even hosted the greatest racers alive for their very own Grand Prix. But even though Radiator Springs had hit the big time, that small town feeling never truly went away. No matter how successful the town became, the Radiator Springs Historical Society would present their annual Stanley Days event to remember and celebrate their founder every year. They take a leisurely drive around the major natural landmarks that surrounded the town, and they'd even have someone dress up as Stanley.
Say, Stanley, what was it like going over these hills back in 1909?
Well, it had its ups and downs.
Radiator Springs just always found
Oh,
a
that
way
was
to come
weird.
together, even through difficult times. After Doc Hudson passed away, his historic tenure as a racer, mentor, and friend was never forgotten. You see, the clinic Doc ran was converted into a monument of his incredible career, showing that the small town was never willing to forget the cars who helped shape their community. Radiator Springs was a special place, which is why Lightning McQueen never decided to leave, even after he retired from racing. In fact, when Lightning decided to mentor Cruz Ramirez, he knew that there was no better place to train her than on the track around Willie Butte, exactly where Doc had trained him. And in time, it seems she'll win Piston Cups and have massive success, just like the race cars who came before her. The historic racing dynasty coming out of that town and the world-class teams behind each of those racers will be remembered forever. In recent years, Radiator Springs has been building a racing legacy that has truly become unmatched. And sure, that means the town has evolved far beyond its original purpose of being a rest stop for overheated cars. But what has remained the same throughout all of those good and bad years is a community who loves one another and their home.
Radiator Springs, the glorious jewels strung on the
Of
necklace of
course,
Route
they have to use
66.
that ending.
Fun people, if you'd like to see more Pixar videos like this one, consider subscribing. To help support me create a home for people who love Disney movies and the art of animation, consider supporting me on Patreon. And finally, thanks for watching and have a magical day.
Try this 3-minute.
Ugh. Hold on, guys.
The fabulous Hudson Hornet was a legendary race car who went on to become a doctor, the crew chief for one of the most decorated race cars of all time, and a close friend to all of the residents of his home, Radiator Springs. But
Oh,
what did
shoot.
Doc Hudson do?
I gotta restart. I wasn't, I didn't hear what the person said.
The fabulous Hudson Hornet was a legendary race car who went on to become a doctor, the crew chief for one of the most decorated race cars of all time, and a close friend to all of the residents of his home, Radiator Springs. But what did Doc Hudson do to become a famous race car? Why did he return to racing? And how was he remembered after he died? Hello, I'm Isaac Carlson, and today I'm finally breaking down the life of Doc. If you'd like to see more Pixar character breakdowns like this one, consider subscribing. Oh, and if you like
Wait, I need to go back a second. Sorry, guys.
Isaac Carlson, and today I'm finally breaking down the life of Doc. If you'd like to see more Pixar character breakdowns like this one, consider subscribing.
Sorry, guys. I like to repeat things. I don't know why.
And if you'd like to go to Cars Land yourself at the Disneyland Resort, my travel agency, Imaginative Travel, is available to guide you through the process of planning and booking your dream Disney vacation. You can go experience Radiator Springs in real life, and all you have to do to get started is go to planimaginative.travel.com. Now, when Doc Hudson took over the racing world in 1951, the same year his car model debuted in real life, there was no official tracks built.
I'm
There
gonna
was
put my
little money
profile
to be
back to
made,
what it
and there
was.
was no pit crews, and many of the most
Where is
prominent
it?
cars at the time had come up smuggling moonshine. And all you have to do to get started is go to planimaginative.travel.com. Now, when Doc Hudson took over the racing world in 1951, the same year his car model debuted in real life, there was no official tracks built. There was little money to be made, and there was no pit crews. And many of the most prominent cars at the time had come up smuggling moonshine. It was all just dirt and tough cars, and Doc was ready to compete. But what made Doc Hudson such a great racer? With a low center of gravity and agile cornering, he was tough to compete with. Plus, a sticker on Doc's hood stated he was carrying twin H power. That meant he was packing a dual carburetor, allowing him to mix air and fuel more efficiently so he could accelerate and go faster. The other racers just couldn't match his precision in the lines he was driving without crashing, which meant it was hard to catch his number, 51. When he arrived at Thomasville Speedway, a place that would become his home track, Doc declared himself the fabulous Hudson Hornet, and soon he proved to everyone that he deserved the title. Smokey was the friend in his corner going into race days, as he was a piston cup team owner who also owned an automotive shop. He helped guide Doc through his racing years, and with that assistance, the Hudson Hornet began to take down the best racers of the day. The scrappy and humble River Scott was surpassed by HUD. Louise Barnstormer Nash, known as the First Lady of Racing, won 3 races races in a row against Doc in his first year, but she couldn't hold him off for long. And even a backwoods champion like Junior Midnight Moon wasn't able to keep the fabulous Hudson Hornet from 13 wins and his first Piston Cup in 1951. Doc had taken down the legends of the early Piston Cup circuit, but he was just getting started. In fact, that was the lowest number of wins in a single season that he would have throughout the rest of his career. And the following season would be where he made history. In 1952, Doc broke the record for the most wins in a single season. The fabulous Hudson Hornet took home 27 victories and a record that has never been broken. And of course, that year, he also earned himself another Piston Cup. Sure, in 1953, Doc only won 22 races, but he took home his third consecutive Piston Cup, which cemented him as a champion for all time and one of the greatest dirt track racers in history. His accomplishments would also inspire the next generation of racers, including Strip the King Weathers, who would go on to be a driving legend himself. The King became one of the most successful race cars of all time, as he would earn 7 Piston Cups, a feat that wouldn't be matched until Doc mentored his own pupil.
Junior, the Hudson Hornet was my inspiration.
But in June of 1954, after taking home 16 victories that season, the fabulous Hudson Hornet went through a career-ending crash during the Fireball Beach 500. Doc had pulled away from the leaders, but in the final stretch, he lost control in the sand, flipped multiple times, and was left a wreck. The Hudson Hornet was out for the season, and by the time he was rebuilt, out of the garage and ready to return, he was told that racing had moved on without him. A new rookie was added to the roster in his place, and Doc was never allowed to race again.
There was a lot left in me. I never got a chance to show.
Devastated by the news, Doc decided he would completely disconnect from the racing world, which led him to cut off his fellow racing friends and even Smokey. 2 years later, the Hudson Hornet went down a new path as he enrolled into a 4-year program at Northern Pneumatic Polytechnic School of Mechanics. In 1962, he became a doctor of internal combustion, and he updated his license plate to reflect that. Doc's license plate is 51, his racing number, HH, his model, Hudson Hornet, and MD, his profession, Doctor of Medicine. But after he became a doctor, he went and hid himself away. In the mid-1950s, Route 66 was beginning to meet its demise as Interstate 40 was being built to bypass the road, which made it a great place for Doc to disappear to. When he arrived at Radiator Springs in Carburetor County, the town was already in decline, so he was welcomed with open arms when he decided to run the Ornament Valley Mechanical Clinic. Doc became responsible for fixing bad spark plugs and solving rattles in engines. He was the one who was looking out for everyone's health. Over time, his wisdom, tough attitude, and compassion allowed him to become a well-respected member of the community. They embraced him as their own, even though he was a very private person. Doc's standing with the good folks of Radiator Springs even allowed him to become a judge. But regardless of how much he loved and embraced Radiator Springs as a town, there was a part of the Hudson Hornet that remained sad, angry, and bitter over how his racing days were completed. In
Jeez, that's not good, Benjamin.
his garage, he hung the article that showcased his crash specifically so that he would always remember why he could never go back. And for years, his Piston Cups just felt empty. Over 50 years after his crash, though, the racing world found him again. Everything changed in 2006 when a rookie racer named Lightning McQueen showed up to Radiator Springs and accidentally destroyed their road. Initially, Doc was prepared to punish the car who wrecked their town to the fullest extent of the law. But when he saw that it was a race car who had entered the town, he wanted him to be gone as quickly as possible. With some convincing from the rest of the citizens, though, he had a change of heart. Doc ordered that Lightning McQueen would only be released after he fixed the road himself. Right away, the fabulous Hudson Hornet saw in Lightning McQueen everything he despised about racing. Lightning was arrogant and selfish. He was rude, cruel, and completely overconfident, which Doc was happy to expose. When Lightning rushed the road's reconstruction, Doc challenged the rookie to a one-lap race around Willie's Butte to decide who would do the road the right way. Of course, at the start of the race, though, Doc did not take off because he knew Lightning wouldn't have the skills necessary to race on dirt. And sure enough, the young race car took the final turn too fast, skidded out of control, and went into the ravine.
You drive like you fix roads. Lousy.
Well, Doc hated
Sorry,
the idea
that
of being a
scene was
racer
kind of
around
funny.
first. He loved getting the chance to ravine.
You drive like you fix roads. Lousy.
While Doc hated the idea of keeping a racer around at first, he loved getting the chance to punish a self-absorbed rookie. What the Hudson Hornet didn't expect, though, was to see some grit in the boy. Seeing Lightning's determination to figure out the turn at Willie's Butte throughout the night and into the morning after successfully paving a beautiful section of the new road, Doc was intrigued. He tried to reach out to Lightning to explain how to successfully make the turn at high speeds, but the wisdom he shared was just
But McQueen wouldn't accept it. He was so rude about it.
thrown back in his face. Doc kept receiving more attitude from Lightning, and he felt disrespected when the race car went into his garage without his permission. The rookie had discovered Doc's secrets and begged for advice from him after he had already tried to share. Lightning even tried to spread the word about who Doc truly was in his early life, clearly against his wishes. There was a part of Doc that wanted to connect with who he once was, but he despised the idea that he was anything like Lightning McQueen, and he couldn't stand remembering all the pain he felt when he was ripped away from the sport he loved. Sure, Doc was concerned that Lightning would hurt the citizens of Radiator Springs, but he was also worried that Lightning and the world of racing would turn their back on him again. Once Lightning finished the road, he stayed even though his final race of the season was coming up soon. The racer remained to support the community and to show his appreciation for their kindness, but Doc couldn't stand it. He wanted racing out of his life again, so he contacted the media about Lightning's whereabouts in hopes of trying.
Wait, Thomas, so that's why Doc contacted all the
Right.
the press, because he didn't want a reminder of the accident that took him out of racing forever.
Oh.
Because he didn't want racing in his life after that, I guess. I don't know.
Rookie out of town. While it did get Lightning out of Radiator Springs, Doc immediately felt how empty the place became without him. The townspeople dispersed, the neon lights were turned off, and Doc was left alone in darkness again. Lightning had not only brought life back to Radiator Springs, but to Doc himself. And Doc wasn't going to let the fire within him hide any longer. Doc decaled himself again as the fabulous Hudson Hornet, rounded up a pit crew from Radiator Springs, and drove all the way to the Los Angeles International Speedway so he could be Lightning McQueen's crew chief during the most important race of the season. The Hudson Hornet was back, and the racing world was stunned to see a legend return to the spotlight. Doc's guidance kept Lightning in the race and even put him in position to win the whole thing. But when the King suffered a terrible crash, just like what Doc had went through,
Because Chick pushed him. What do you think of that, Thomas?
Hold on.
Now, say to everybody here, but the reason that the King got into that horrible crash similar to Doc Hudson's is because freaking Chick Hicks literally pushed him.
Mm-hmm.
He cheated in the race just so he could get
Sure, they
first.
cheated.
Which reminds me of the whole train shark situation with Barney. But
Mm-hmm.
he did. He freaking cheated. That's why Chick.
I don't like
That's
cheating.
why everybody at the end of the race. That's why they didn't. That's why they didn't like the fact that he won. They didn't like it. They were upset. They were mad at him. They were disappointed in him because he didn't deserve the win.
Yeah,
If anything, the
shouldn't.
King and McQueen deserved it.
instead of taking the victory for himself, he helped the racing legend finish his final race. Lightning didn't win a Piston Cup that day, but Doc could see that he had the heart of a champion.
You got a lot of stuff.
Thanks, Doc.
Following Lightning's rookie season, the race car set up his headquarters in Radiator Springs, which put it back on the map. The racing world, including race cars and fans, quickly descended onto the tiny town now that it was home to a world-famous racing team. The citizens of Radiator Springs even built a racing museum and continued to restore the town to its former glory. Racing was finally being reintegrated into Doc's life, and over the next few years, he was Lightning McQueen's mentor. In every way, Doc opened up again. He was goofier and more lighthearted. He reached out to old friends like Smokey again to share about Lightning's successes, and he allowed himself to fight for piston cups again.
Oh
Together,
my god,
Lightning and Doc
the
went
scene in Cars 3 when they show the photos of Doc and Hudson, or Doc and McQueen, that just makes me wanna, that makes me wanna cry.
3 piston cups together, and the Hudson Hornet was so proud of him. Those were the happiest days in his life, but it all couldn't go on forever. After years of working with Lightning, Doc eventually passed away, but we don't know the circumstances that caused it. Maybe he died of old age, or maybe he became sick like his voice actor, Paul Newman. We can't
Well, it could have been true.
be sure what happened, but according to Jay Ward, the creative director of the Cars universe, there was a draft of Cars 3 that would have shown Doc's death. Lightning would have been driving with Doc, following close behind him until the good old fabulous Hudson Hornet couldn't keep going. And personally, I love the idea that Doc spent his final moments driving his heart out with a race car who had brought joy, happiness, and peace back to his life. But how was Doc Hudson remembered? With the passing of Doc, the Piston Cup was dedicated to him and renamed in his honor. The clinic he had run in Radiator Springs was converted into a museum focused on his career. At Thomasville Speedway, his home track, the owners erected a statue to remember his time racing there. In Disney California Adventure Park, we were shown that every year around Dia de los Muertos, Ramon put up an ofrenda for Doc in his body shop. Doc's racing number of 51 was eventually passed down to Lightning McQueen's own protege, Cruz Ramirez, and the title of Fabulous was taken on by Lightning McQueen himself once he retired from racing with 7 piston cups. McQueen
Okay,
donned
on the
Doc's
back,
famous navy blue color.
on McQueen's spoiler or whatever, when it says for Doc Hudson, that makes me want to cry happy tears.
Decaled himself in the same way his mentor had, and attempted to pass down the wisdom and continue the legacy of his mentor.
What's wrong, Thomas? I saw the sad emoji.
Nothing.
Is it the history or the story?
It must be the history.
I'm sorry, Thomas. I did say
It's
it could
okay.
be a tearjerker.
The late, great, legendary, fabulous Hudson Hornet. Let me know what you thought about Doc's life down in the comments. And while you're down there,
That actually made me tear up just now.
on Patreon. If you'd like to support my mission to create the highest quality videos I can about Disney, movies, and the art of animation, while also earning exclusive rewards, consider going to patreon.com/Isaac Carlson. And you can also find this original t-shirt along with a variety of other magical designs at my shop at imaginativestore.com. Finally, thanks for watching and have a magical day.
Magical. The hell?
My exam season is coming up.
Commercial.
It helps me save so much time. Grammarly.
Shrek is the massive, green, frightening ogre who married a princess, found friendship, and created his family.
Wait, what is this? Oh.
Many fast engines have made their way to the island of Sodor in the TV series, but who is the fastest of them all? As the show went on, it frequently contradicted itself on who the fastest engine was.
Wait a minute.
This video was brought to you by my loyal patrons. Pledge today and you can participate in choosing what video comes to the channel next. Link in the description. Whenever people reflect on Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, more often than not, this is what they remember.
Right? The classic
The
series.
CP theme song, the model train props on actual sets, the real steam, the insane practical crashes, the static faces and moving eyes that do 360s.
Yeah.
This classic era of the show is beloved by all, and it's where a lot of Thomas's charm came from. For 12 seasons, Thomas stayed true to the style until 2009.
Until the CGI came out.
In 2009, Thomas entered the world of CGI. Gone were the Wonderland sets and props and practical effects.
And a lot of people hated it.
A lot of fans' interest in the series.
And a lot of people hated
I think
it.
the general consensus around CGI.
I'm sorry, but I like it. I grew up with it. I'm sorry.
That it's not as good as the old stuff. And
Not as good as the old stuff. Oh, be quiet. I grew up with CGI.
that is valid, I think. CGI steam effects, or a
I literally
CGI
have to say that all the time. I grew up with the CGI version.
physical one. With the arrival of CGI also came a new writing style that just was not good.
Thomas felt.
Oh boy.
Thomas felt terrible. Thomas.
Oh my God, what's with the narrator?
Thomas felt terrible. I get it.
Sorry. That was a fake laugh, by the way. But that did make me laugh
Would
inside,
be
though.
lying though if I said CGI Thomas didn't have high points. It'd be an outright lie to say that it didn't have good seasons. In fact, it had quite a few great ones. Mattel bought Thomas in 2012, and with their takeover came a new writing team, headed by Andrew Brenner and Ian McHugh. Together, this team brought us some of the best Thomas content we've had since the 90s. 5 solid seasons of episodes that featured surprises, respectful homages to the original source material, and plenty of wink winks to fans.
They're even going to write about me in a book and show me off in moving pictures on the television.
What episode is this? What the hell?
Don't be silly. That's never going to happen.
But it did happen.
What the?
Didn't it?
Oh
I'm here
boy.
today to give this high point era of CGI Thomas some love and talk about what I think are 10 rather overlooked episodes. These are episodes that I think are genuinely great and did something wonderful, like utilize good
Oh
storytelling.
wait, so he's gonna
or
talk
develop
about episodes. Oh boy. Here we go.
Or just do something really
Get ready for this,
the
Thomas.
series. Episodes that I don't see people really talk about that often. I mean, some might be talked about a lot. I
He
don't know.
tried to put the sandwich on the
Now,
bucket
we've
of both.
all seen the really great CGI episodes like Tit for Tat or Love Me Tender. And I've talked about ones like Henry's Hero like 4 times now. Everyone loves those. They're undeniably awesome. So we're going to try to stay clear of those well-known greats. The point of this video is to shed some light on overlooked episodes. 10 hidden gems that will make you appreciate this era of Thomas
Yeah.
just a bit more.
Better be good ones.
Let's dive in.
Here's the first one, huh?
We had parts snap off and bits come loose. Some engines I work with even exploded.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Cautious Connor is about, well, Connor, one of the newer characters introduced in the series. Connor is a super fast streamline engine that prides himself of being bang on time. But
Really?
one day he goes a little too fast and breaks
Try
the
and talk fast. You sound
That
like an
scared him
engine,
so
Thomas. He's like,
badly,
"Fast,
that even
fast,
after he is
fast,
fully
fast."
repaired, Connor is afraid to go fast again. He completely loses his self-confidence.
Just wait.
And only
Guys, hold on. I need to. Excuse me. Plug the phone in real quick and blah blah.
after a very encouraging
You don't have to keep your name, Thomas, if you don't want to. You can change it. But I'll tell you.
pep talk from Steven does Connor get his confidence back. On paper, this sounds like a really simple episode, like a concept that has been done before, and it has, many times. But where this episode shines is with its characters. The entire cast of this one, barring Tom.
No, Thomas, I'm trying to get myself to go to bed at 12:30, and then it turns out to 1 o'clock.
Thomas, of course,
All
are
the
all
time.
new characters. Ones that old fans of the show are probably not that familiar with. Connor is one of those new characters that very clearly does not fit in with the show's environment. This is a giant American streamlined Hudson in neon blue colors in a quiet English countryside setting. He's garish and looks out of place and comes off as just another gimmick character for the sake of toys, which isn't untrue. But if there's anything
Sorry, that was my nose. Well, yeah, you can, Thomas. I'm not stopping you.
Thing that this era did well, it was that it actually developed its new characters. No matter how
Oh, hold on, guys. BRB.
gimmicky and concept they were. Connor's fear is pretty understandable in this episode. It's an irrational fear, but it doesn't matter. It's like people who are afraid of flying or of heights. They can't help it.
I'm afraid
He's flawed, and you actually kind of feel bad for him, especially in how he vocalizes it.
It was kind of scary. I mean, I heard a big bang and felt something snap.
I also love this bit when Steven is taunting him. He has this moment where he gets mad and almost goes off on him, but then he stops himself.
But you're not too fast for me anymore. I could race laps around you.
You can tell Steven struck a nerve there. It's subtle, but it's character. By the end of this episode, Connor feels pretty well realized, like an actual character with flaws and desires, not just the new toy of the year. Steven, too, wow. I think most of Steven's likability comes from his voice actor, Bob Golding. His pep talk is scarily inspiring, just by the way Golding delivers it.
Get out there and prove it. Go on. You can do it. You can be bang on time.
Steven is the fictionalized version of Stevenson's rocket, a real engine. And he's such a fun character because all his wisdom and experience is drawn from the real life engine's history.
We had parts snap off and bits come loose. Some engines I work with even exploded.
These all actually happened. Pretty grim stuff, but Steven is all in stride.
But did they give up? No. They picked themselves up, got their parts back together, and carried on racing.
I love his enthusiasm, even at his old age. Cautious Connor is a great episode that showcases all new characters at their strongest. If you're one of the old fans that sticks their nose up at all the gimmicky new characters,
Sticks their nose
try to
up.
give this episode a watch. You may be delighted with what you find here.
Aren't you gonna change your name, Thomas?
Those engines you worked with really put themselves back together.
And that was the UK version. Well, Thomas, come on, you can put your name back.
Just the name's alright. We need to put my name back.
Well, you know you can now. Like, go ahead, Thomas.
After they exploded.
Don't be silly, Thomas. No.
Oh, thank you, sir. I do my best.
Then you won't mind picking up Annie and Caramel so you can carry more passengers.
The rail car and the coaches features the most unlikely pairing I never expected to see in the show. Annie and Clarabelle and Daisy. Wow. In this episode, Thomas is sent to work at the quarry for a few weeks, so Daisy returns to resume passenger services on his branch line. Daisy can carry passengers on her, so Annie and Clarabelle are not needed. But Daisy can't just let the two rest in peace. She has to insult them.
Oh, are you two still here?
Oh, jolly Miss Pinky.
I can go anywhere I like, but you will have to wait for an engine to come along. And live for the kitchens. It's just rude.
Rightfully, Annie and Clarabelle are angered by this. So when they finally get the chance to, they pull a prank on Daisy that goes a little too well.
Everybody up! Everybody out! I need to speak to a professional.
Daisy thinks something is wrong with her, and Annie and Clarabelle get stranded out on the line. All's well that ends well when Sir Topham Hatt figures out what happened and reprimands them all. It goes without saying that Daisy is a real standout in this episode. I don't think this is her first CGI appearance in an episode officially, but it was the first episode to the masses back in 2016.
Oh, excuse me.
And man, oh man, did she come back to the show swinging. Tracy Ann Oberman voiced Daisy, and she did such a great job bringing the character to life. I'm really happy they got Daisy her own special VA instead of having one of the main cast members take her on. It really helps separate her from the rest of the characters.
I'm highly sprung, you see. Tip-top and thoroughly modern.
Annie and Clarabelle are the stars of this. For the first time, I think, ever, we see a more devious side to these two. A side I didn't know they had.
Right, guys? It's so weird.
This is yet another one of those wonderful episodes where it doesn't portray either of its mains as in the right. Annie and Clarabelle are just as wrong in this as Daisy is, and all get what's coming to them. In a simpler version of this episode, Daisy would outright be the antagonist, and Annie and Clarabelle would be the heroes.
Don't mean to laugh.
Over
Sorry,
her at the
guys.
end. But no, instead they play a that gets them in trouble too.
Wait, what
Daisy
do you
would
say?
outright be the antagonist, and Annie and Clarabelle would be the heroes that triumph over her at the end. But no, instead they play a mean trick that gets them in trouble too. It's such a nice breath of fresh air to see side characters like Annie and Clarabelle be in the spotlight. It's also nice to see them, who are usually naggy and portrayed as being the voices of reason, be in the wrong for once. I never expected to see a scene of Sir Topham Hatt telling off Annie and Clarabelle of all characters.
That's kind of strange. I've never seen that in my life.
Everyone is flawed and awful to each other. I love it. Thomas is at its best when everyone is unapologetic and savage. The rivalry between these three is not a one-time thing either. It's continual, touched on in other episodes following this one. In a later episode, The Way She Does It, Daisy is gloating about something, and it cuts to Annie and Clarabelle just rolling their eyes at her.
I am picking up a group of entertainers.
Breaker. Breaker.
And taking them to Harwick to put on a show.
Solid
Annie and Clarabelle sarcastic. Ooh.
continuity there.
I
Usually-
am picking up a group of entertainers and taking them to Harwick to put on a show.
Solid continuity there. I recommend this episode particularly because its mere concept is pretty mind-blowing to me. This whole rivalry came to be because of a single line of dialogue all the way back in Daisy's introductory story.
This is better, said Daisy. But whatever is that rubbish? The rubbish turned out to be Annie, Clarabelle, and Henrietta, who were most offended. We won't stay here to be insulted, they fumed.
Never again did Daisy and Annie and Clarabelle interact again after this.
Don't you
Just
guys
insulted
start.
them
I'm
once
just
this
kidding.
one time, and that was it. Writer of this episode, Davey Moore, took this one line and wrote a whole script out of it. That's just so inventive and clever to me. And now it's a solid character rivalry that they can play with in later episodes if they've chosen to. If you're familiar with the original Daisy episode, then I highly recommend The Rail Car and the Coaches.
Annie and Clarabelle said I was grating, and I can't hear anything.
So, that means...
I must have a problem with my hearing as well. I'm off to the diesel works to find me fitter.
Okay, well that was interesting.
Right then, let's see if you can keep up with me.
Damn commercial. I wasn't expecting music. Holy. I wasn't expecting music, guys. Sorry.
Okay, this is the third episode in a row from season 20. I know. It should be no shock that season 20
Did he
is going to
just-
get a lot of love
Really?
in this video since it's like the best one.
Dumb
But I
StreamYard.
will look at other seasons, I promise. Over the Hill is about Stephen and Glenn. Glenn, the vertical boiler dubbed coffee pot engine, has been recently restored and relocated to the Earl's Railway Museum at Ulstead Castle, alongside Stephen. Both engines are extremely old and have historic value. Stephen, holding the honor of being the first steam engine ever built, is crestfallen when all attention is turned to the newcomer. Jealous of him, he challenges Glynn to a race to settle who is the best engine of all.
Boy, I don't think the Earl or the Fat Controller will like that.
Oh, are you scared? I love this episode. It just has everything. It's another one of those
And it's
CGI
got the song "I the
that's focused
Tiger" in it too.
entirely on new characters. And just like Cautious Connor, they're all extremely lovable. I love that Glynn has a backstory that is shown to us in a flashback. I like that the Rocket's real-life history is in Stephen's characterization again.
I beat 4 other engines at the Rain Hill trials.
But what I love most of all about this one is its humor. This is a very self-aware episode. A race between two ancient engines is ridiculous in concept, and they play it to the full extreme. I love how the first act builds up all this tension between the two characters, leading up to this big race, only for it to start and completely subvert the audience's expectations. They roll out going like 5 miles an hour, and the episode just becomes a chuckle fest from that point on. But I love even more is that they subvert expectations again. Halfway through the race, the two old geezers completely forget they're even racing, cause dementia, I guess, and just start complaining about the current state of the world and start throwing pot shots at passing engines.
Would you like a cup of tea with that, young Gordon?
The episode just forgets this race they were building up was even a thing, and it becomes these two just being old geezers together. I love it. It subverts expectations in the best way. If there's one thing that CGI Thomas was that the model it was genuinely funny. This is a banger of an episode featuring the and Theodore of Thomas, a total laugh fest. Check it out.
I guess.
An episode in the 21st season that is a sequel to an episode in the first season. Only 20 seasons apart. Did we really need this? Well, let's talk about it. This episode is about Thomas and Terrence, and is infamously Terrence's big return to the series after a, 10-season hiatus? Can't believe they even brought him back. Terrence is helping men cut Christmas trees down in the fields besides the railway. Thomas collects the trees and takes them to the big station. Catch up, and Terrence reflects on the time he saved Thomas from a snowdrift, complete with a CGI recreation of the episode from season 1.
I don't need that heavy, uncomfortable plow. Snow is silly, soft stuff. It won't stop me.
Oh yeah? Until you crash into a snowbank.
One day, Sir Topham Hatt sends Thomas to collect a big tree near the lake Terrence is working at. Terrence, who is pretty chuffed about his being able to go anywhere with his caterpillar tracks, chugs across the tree. On his journey back, however, cracks start to form. With Thomas's help, Terrence is saved before he falls into the lake, but the tree isn't so lucky.
I'm sorry, tree. I'm sorry.
Rest in peace, tree.
It is admittedly a pretty simple episode.
I'm tired too.
It's a sequel to a, at the time, 33-year-old episode. But it works because, well, have we ever seen Thomas and Terrence interact after that? Barely. I like how it acknowledges the past events, and it stays totally true to them. The canon isn't changed. I also like how it squares both characters out. In the past episode, Thomas was the hothead and Terrence rescued him. Now Terrence is the one that got overconceited, and Thomas rescued him. They're total equals now. I've seen some people say that Terrence is out of character in this episode, and to that I say, is he though? Did Terrence even really have a character episode or any episode? Not really, if you ask me. He kind of just showed up wherever and was helpful, but like, that was it. He's kind of boastful in a railway series story, Toby Takes the Road, which actually aligns with his character here. If they want to make Terrence self-confident, I say go for it, because he honestly was pretty much a blank slate to begin with. It may be overt fan service to bring Terrence of all characters back, but I think they handled him quite well. He got some much-needed characterization, and it acknowledged the past with a very sweet, albeit simple, episode. It's a sequel to an episode from 21 seasons ago no one asked for. But boy, am I glad we got it.
Okay, Thomas.
Get the Amazon app and shop on the go, wherever you are. Track your pack.
Why is everyone getting on the wrong trains today?
It's your new public address system, sir.
It can't be.
Passengers wishing to travel to train is now ready to board at
Oh dear, oh dear. PA Problems is, wait for it, a Sir Topham Hatt episode. Yeah, not often we get many of those, huh? In this one, Sir Topham Hatt decides to update the public address system at the big station with a brand new one. For no reason other than the new one looked impressive to him. The new PA system turns out to be rather faulty and causes more problems than it solves. Oh dear, oh dear. After he realizes his mistake, Edward goes to save the old one from the scrapyard before it's too late. This episode reminds me a lot of the one from the classic series, The Fogman, from season 6, in which Sir Topham Hatt learned a very similar lesson. In fact, that episode has basically the same plot as this. Sir Topham Hatt decides to use a new version of something just because it's new, but it ends up causing more problems. And he learns that just because something is old doesn't mean it's outdated. As much as I like The Fogman, I think PA Problems is the superior episode. First, because Topham updating his PA system in this didn't cause a man his livelihood.
What will Cyril do now, he asked. He will be getting a much-needed rest, said Sir Topham Hatt. Poor Cyril. He's been scrapped.
Damn, Topham is ruthless. And second, because of how the moral is delivered. At the end of the episode, Edward comes in to save the day as always and says this line.
Just because they're old doesn't mean they're not useful.
I'm never a fan of when a moral is outright but they couldn't have chosen a better character to vessel this. Edward may be referring to the PA system literally here, but it's also a solid sum up of himself as a character. Edward is old. That's like the main thing he's known for. But time and time again, he has proven he is just as capable as any other engine. A great use of his character in CGI, if you ask me. What's so funny about this is that this episode, with this moral, is placed in season 21, right before the Big World, Big Adventures reboot. To be flashier and faster paced, and also got rid of Edward. How awfully ironic, huh? Edward is basically written out of the show at the end of this season in the episode A Shed for Edward, which was written by Lee Pressman, who also wrote this episode. I wonder if this scene was supposed to be like a subtle knock, or maybe foreshadowing? Who knows? I think the moral here is really solid and well delivered. Ooh. Overall, a very entertaining episode, where the character who learns the lesson is Sir Topham Hatt himself. A rarity indeed. It also has this scene of Reg the Crane rocking out to music, which is just so endearing.
Listening to music. Oh. Oh. Oh, that
Luke's
episode.
New Friend is an entirely narrow gauge focused episode. Now that is a real rarity in the CGI series. Yeah, there's no Thomas in this one, or any standard gauge engines. Paxton has like a 2-second cameo,
I'm tired
but
too.
that's
Actually,
it.
no, I'm getting
It's
there.
all Narrow Gauge.
It's okay,
This
Thomas.
episode spotlights Luke. His first time in the limelight since his introduction in the movie Blue Mountain Mystery. At the end of another busy day, Luke stumbles across a lost fawn that found its way into the quarry. He tries to befriend it, and when it starts to take a liking to him, Luke decides to keep it as a pet. This, of course, does not work out, and Luke has to learn the hard way that a loud industrial quarry is no place for a deer. This episode
What?
has
How?
a ton of heart,
Oh,
and
never
that's why it
mind.
works so well for me.
That was a dumb
Luke's
question.
motivation to keep it
Sorry,
here
guys.
is pretty understandable.
It does belong here. It just takes a little while to fit in. That's all. He'll soon get used to it, just like I did.
He sees himself in it, looking back on the events of Blue Mountain Mystery, where he ran and hid all the time because he was scared. That's a really introspective motivation, I think. Much better than just keep it because it's cute. I also love how the other engines, even though they clearly don't agree with Luke's decision, all still try to help him out. They work quietly not to scare the deer, but of course it doesn't work. And it's obvious that it wouldn't work. But the fact they tried at all, despite the reality of the situation, shows how much of a family unit this narrow gauge clan is. Eventually, Luke has to take the deer away and heads off to Ulstead Castle, where the fawn reunites with its mother. Luke has to learn to say goodbye.
Look. It tickles.
That's okay, friend. Off you go.
Might as well end it at 3 hours, I guess. I don't know.
I really love this scene. There's no narration. It's just a nice, quiet moment where the two share a last look at each other. I love this little detail here too. Luke's driver giving him a pat on his cab to comfort him. That's adorable.
That
This
is
a
adorable.
ridiculously sweet, share a last
You're so cute.
look at each other.
Sorry.
I love this little detail here too. Luke's driver giving him a pat on his cab to comfort him. That's adorable. This is a ridiculously sweet episode. Everyone cares about each other, even the nameless mute engine crew. It's heartwarming. It's the type of episode that ends with you having a warm, fuzzy feeling inside of you. A feel-good episode focused on a rather obscure cast of characters in an era that didn't really give them
Good. Actually, we all are tired. Oh, yes. That episode was good, except that I hate the UK version, which ticks me off.
Another Sir Topham Hatt episode on this list, you ask? Well, if you look at just the title, yes. But this isn't really a Sir Topham Hatt episode. It's an ensemble episode. In this one, Percy overhears some damning dialogue from some station workers that suggests
But it's a
Topham
good
Hatt
one.
quit.
The Fat Controller will still be here, will he?
No, he won't be here. I'll find out when he's going.
Well,
Yeah, that's not a good thing to say around someone that worries. Me.
the sooner he's gone, the better.
The engines all conclude he's leaving because of how much trouble they all cause him. So they decide to work as hard as ever. However, their worries are only worsened when Percy witnesses the same men moving everything out of Topham's office.
Even that phone.
We'll come back for another lot in a minute. We have to clear everything.
When everyone hears the news, they conclude Sir Topham Hatt isn't quitting. He was sacked.
So they really are throwing him out.
We'll have a new controller, I suppose.
In an
Not like that.
effort to keep Topham as their controller, the engines go on strike.
Of course.
There is a lot in this episode that is reflective of very early episodes and stories in the series. The engines all going on strike for one,
That reminds me.
which was a common thing in the early years. What I love about this, though, is that they're going on strike is not out of selfish reasons. They're doing it in an attempt to save their boss. That's actually really sweet. So Topham Hatt has this bad rap on the internet as being like an evil dictator that treats his engines like slaves.
No.
And this episode is an
You're so stupid.
excellent
That's not how it is.
counter to that. So Topham Hatt has rap on the internet as being like an evil dictator that treats his engines like slaves. And this
No. That's not how it goes. Sorry.
is an excellent counter to that. No, he's a father figure. And the engines, in fact, all love him and will stand up for him when he's being threatened. Hell, even Diesel puts on a happy face to please him.
Jeez, Diesel, you never been like that.
So Topham Hatt being sacked is, of course, just a
Misunderstand. Oh, what?
misunderstanding. At the end of the episode, it's revealed only his office was being redecorated. Which is actually a hilarious in-joke because this episode is right at the end of season 19. Following this season is the movie Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, which
when Sailor John was being a ding dong.
a hilarious in-joke because this episode.
Oh, you mother trucker! I'm trying to pause it at the right time, and it's not letting me.
Office was being which is actually a hilarious joke because this episode is right at the end of understanding. At the end of the episode, it's revealed only his office was being redecorated, which is actually a hilarious in-joke because this episode is right at the end of season 19. Following this season is the movie Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, where... Yeah, so much for that new office. The engines totally misunderstanding the situation makes them actually...
God, I hate that.
Quite naive, and I really love that. This is something so true to the books. The engines are not, like, idiots per se, more so just ignorant to human concepts. They're machines. They don't have the same knowledge and experiences of the world that people do. Here's some examples. Thomas not understanding how fishing works and wants to do it himself.
Oh, for God's sake.
Want to fish, but they all had the same answer. Engines don't go fishing.
Bert not understanding how books work.
We've got visitors today, said his driver. One takes moving pictures, and the other writes books. I don't want to be a moving picture in a book, protested Bert. I want to stay as I am.
Or Percy thinking a scarf will somehow warm his funnel.
That would be me.
My funnel's cold. My funnel's cold. I want a scarf. I want a scarf.
In this episode, they don't understand the concept of an office redecoration. So
because I thought the same thing. Why can't people just... Benjamin, why can't people understand that office redecorating, it obviously the people are taking the stuff out of the office, so clearly it'll look like they're being, like, resituated. But that's just a misunderstanding.
Leaving. Andrew Brenner wrote this episode, and he proves here that he has a good understanding of the characters' perspectives within their own universe. Overall, I think this is an incredibly sweet episode, one that feels true to the spirit of the books.
I need the screenshot too. I'm getting awesome screenshots of Percy thanks to this video.
And one where all the main characters, despite their differences, come together and join forces to help a greater cause. There are very few things that will make snobs like Gordon see eye to eye with the likes of Thomas and Percy. And one of those few things is their undeniable loyalty to Sir Topham Hatt, the man who keeps them all in steam. I love ensemble stories, and this is, in my opinion, one of the best ones.
Okay. Oh, what episode is this? What kind of laugh was that?
Confused Coaches is a Gordon and Spencer episode. In fact, it's the only Gordon and Spencer episode in the CGI series.
Oh, that doesn't...
I totally thought these two had more episodes, but guess not. When Spencer was introduced way back in season 7, It was a pretty striking introduction because he actually showed up Gordon, something that's never been done before. Gordon, the top link proven best engine on the railway, had finally met his match. An engine that was objectively better than him in all regards. And he wasn't about to let Gordon forget that. Spencer is Buzz Lightyear, Gordon is Woody. Newer, better engine came along and dethroned the king.
I wonder if it's okay with Benjamin, since it's at 2 hours and 31. Why don't we just let this go to like 3 hours? But I mean, that's up to Benjamin though.
Whenever Spencer popped up in the show following this episode, they always had some fun toying with this rivalry between the two. Gordon feels emasculated and feels he always has something to prove when Spencer's around. And Spencer is a smug douche who knows he's better and likes to shove it in his face.
I'm faster and finer than all the engines on Sodor put together. Spencer's just a big silver show-off.
I'm obviously faster than you are. I'm streamlined.
Doesn't matter if you're streamlined.
Ending loop of pettiness between these two. Never did I expect the show to reach a sort of conclusion to this series-long rivalry. Confused Coaches is, basically, the end-all, be-all to the Gordon and Spencer tiff. The episode starts out pretty standard fare. It's New Year's Eve, and Spencer is back on Sodor to haul a special dinner train for the holiday. Him and Gordon are throwing smacks at each other as usual.
If numbers are so important, then why is and you are only number 4?
Well, you don't even have a number.
Spencer decides to pull one over on Gordon by sitting at his platform, forcing Gordon onto the one beside him. This causes a whole kerfuffle as the wrong trains are unknowingly coupled up to the wrong engines. Spencer ends up with the express and Gordon with Spencer's dinner train. Only after Gordon realizes what happens, he sets chase after Spencer and the race is on. Of course, everything gets sorted out at the end, and both engines are rightfully reprimanded. Pretty entertaining episode so far, but what really pushes it over the line for me is the ending. In the final scene of the episode, after all the mess is sorted, Spencer and Gordon are encouraged to apologize to each other, and surprisingly, they do so without argument.
I'm sorry I took your platform and upset all your passengers.
And I'm sorry I teased you about which platform was the best. There's not that much of a difference, really.
An earned, genuine moment where these two see each other as they are. And in the spirit of the new year, the two finally put their differences aside and start a new leaf.
It's a new year and a new start for you both.
This episode came about in the show's 21st season, and it is the final time we see Gordon and Spencer interact. Other than a quick cameo in season 22, Spencer never appears again. It really feels like this was the intended final appearance of Spencer, and the writers wanted to give him and Gordon a proper bookend. I think the biggest disappointment of the CGI series, for me, is that it often sticks to the status quo. Characters are never allowed to really grow and change greatly. They may experience growth in one episode, but then reset when the next one starts. Confused Coaches, however, is a noteworthy episode in my opinion, because it is a rare example of characters growing and changing and putting rivalries to rest permanently. At long last, Gordon and Spencer are finally friends. If you are a big Gordon or Spencer fan, I highly recommend giving this one a watch.
Okay.
I'm highly sprung. A coat like that could be bad for my swerves, not to mention my...
Oh, good boy.
Springtime for Diesel has made its way towards the top of the list of my favorite CGI episodes. As the title suggests, this episode is about Diesel. Can we talk about the title for a second? The title is a play on the title Springtime for Hitler, which is a musical that was written for the 1968 Mel Brooks film, The Producers.
Really, Springtime for
referenced
Hitler?
a Mel Brooks film in Thomas. They referenced Hitler in Thomas the Tank Engine. They compared Diesel the train to Hitler. I can't get over that. That's
He is not like Hitler.
hysterical. Whatever big wig at Mattel that let this slide has a great sense of humor. In this episode, Diesel is being his normal CGI bully self, bumping into others rudely for the sake of being a jerk. He bumps Daisy one day, which later proves to have damaged her. Daisy's highly sprung springs snap and she has to go out of service to be repaired. When Diesel catches wind, he starts to feel guilty. He goes through the stages of denial, of course denying it at first.
I wonder what happened to her. How should I know?
Then he gets angry.
Diesel.
Diesel getting mad is just.
One night, while he thinks Daisy is asleep, he creeps up to her and basically spills his guts out.
I'm sorry for shunting into you the way I did, Daisy. I really didn't mean to cause you any trouble.
He starts out simply apologizing, but it opens a floodgate and he starts ranting about basically why the way he is.
Other engines aren't nice to me, so why should I be nice to other engines? And they blame me for everything.
He's rude because he has this preconceived notion that everyone judges him before he does anything. All he really wants is a friend.
I like you. Although after this, I don't suppose you'll ever want to be my friend.
When this episode first came out, I thought very little of it. I saw it, I thought it was decent, and then I moved on. But somehow, it keeps working its way back into my scripts as an example of writing good characters. I have talked about this episode in detail in the past because it really is something special in my opinion. Never did I ever think we'd get an episode that goes into the psyche of a character, especially the show's token baddie. You can trace Diesel's disdain for everyone all the way back to his first appearance, where all he wanted to do was make a good first impression in front of everyone.
Is that James and Henry and Gordon too? I am delighted to meet such famous agents.
His ego got in the way, and a prank from Duck caused him to make a fool of himself. And it's all been downhill ever since, ultimately because of his bad decision-making as a result of this. This look into what makes Diesel tick alone is great, but the episode doesn't stop there. After Daisy is finally repaired, Diesel tries to reconcile with her again.
Are you all fixed up now, Daisy?
Yes. Thank you, Diesel.
But she doesn't forgive him. In a typical kid show, hell, in even a typical Thomas episode, after the wrong character says their heartfelt apology, they're forgiven and the lesson is learned. But not this time. Daisy doesn't forgive Diesel and berates him.
If you want to make friends, Diesel, you need to change your ways.
This is such a good character reflection that shows just how far along Daisy herself has come as a character. When she was first introduced, she was just as bad as Diesel is now. Selfish, egotistical, acting all on impulse. But over the series, including the season just before this one, she gained humility. And as of this episode, became pretty mature. She grew up. Daisy looking at Diesel now was like looking in a mirror of her former self. Since their debuts, Daisy's character journey was steadily uphill, while Diesel's went down. It's only after this scolding does Diesel decide it's finally time to make a change. When the next opportunity comes for him to bump Daisy, he resists and instead is cheerful to her.
Good morning. How are you today?
No.
He can't make her forgive him, but he can take the first step to reconciliation. This episode ends with this very hopeful line from the narrator.
Maybe Diesel can make some more friends.
if he really can learn to change his ways. And leaves the audience with some hopefulness for him. I absolutely love that. We don't necessarily need to see Diesel reform. We just need to know that he's finally on the right path. It leaves it up to our imagination where he goes next. How I would have loved if this was the last time we ever saw Diesel in the series. It is a shame that they don't stick to this character progression. In the very next episode, which is also coincidentally another Daisy and Diesel story, Diesel is pretty much back to being his old self. I know episodes get swapped around in production. It's totally possible a most singular engine was written before springtime, but the order changed. But it ultimately doesn't matter because Diesel is. It's totally possible a most singular engine was written before springtime, but the order changed. But it ultimately doesn't matter because Diesel is just a stupid bully again in the following seasons anyway. He never changed. Even though Diesel ultimately didn't reform, I love that this episode implies that he could. The overall message is really progressive and uplifting. No one is bad without reason. Everyone has their inner demons. Even the most dastardly can find a path to redemption. A very well-written episode of the series that uses its characters in such a wonderfully dynamic way. I highly, highly recommend this one. Easily one of my favorites. There are a lot of things that are inconsistent in the CGI series. But one of the most inconsistent things is Thomas himself. The CGI series tends to want its cake and eat it too with him. Sometimes they want Thomas to be the cheeky, pricky, egotistical self he was in the early books and episodes. But then sometimes they want him to be the voice of reason and be mature. He tends to fluctuate depending on whatever the needs of a particular episode are, and it leaves me wondering ultimately what type of character Thomas is supposed to be in the CGI series. There is one certainty, though. The episodes that focus on Thomas on his branch line are always consistent. These are the stories where it's very clear what kind of character Thomas is. Mature and self-reliant, but also a little playful. I think these episodes tend to work really well because of the established cast in this part of Sodor that he always bounces off of. Like Birdie, for instance.
Why are you crying, Thomas? Have you lost another race? It's not me crying, Bertie.
And especially Annie and Clarabelle. Annie and Clarabelle never really became characters until the CGI era of the show. Before, they were basically just NPCs that Thomas always pulled around. Random coaches with stickers for eyes. And it was pretty easy to forget they were even alive to begin with. With CGI and moving faces and all, it's a little harder to ignore. So they kind of have to make them speak and interact with Thomas. And thank God they did. Ever since Annie and Clarabelle spoke for the first time with their own voices in Blue Mountain Mystery, they've been constants connected to Thomas. And it was this episode from season 18 where they totally and finally solidified this trio as an inseparable unit. Let's dive in. The episode starts out just showing what Thomas and Annie and Clarabelle's relationship is like. Annie and Clarabelle.
He's doing it again, Clarabelle. Really, Annie. He's going dreadfully fast.
Thomas always tries to push the boundaries with them. They banter and argue a lot, but they do all clearly love each other, even if sometimes they don't really show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, even though I'm tired, I'm gonna do it. Oh, I need to yawn for a second. Alright, anyway, thank you everybody for joining Benjamin's stream. Uh, please subscribe to Benjamin, me, Thomas, anybody that I mentioned last time. And also, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you, oh boy, how does it, hope you have a great night or day wherever you're from, and we'll see you guys probably tomorrow, or next time? Yeah. See y'all next time. And my little thing that I say every time we end it is, see you later, alligators.